Dylan Moran. Once you opt into the fear of cancel culture, you're finished. BAFTA-winning writer and stand-up Dylan Moran takes aim at the weaponization of social media but believes it'll take much more than woke to kill comedy. In fact, as he rediscovers his passion for drawing, he's far more worried about technology taking over our lives. It's hard being a comedian these days. You can't just turn up and tell any old joke off the top of your head. As a stand-up, you have to be very careful about what you say because comics are being cancelled left, right and center. From David Walliams and Reginald D. Hunter in this country to Roseanne Barr and Kevin Hart on the other side of the Atlantic, comedians are losing work because of unguarded lines being viewed as offensive. Dylan Moran, with his signature comedic style and unmistakable candor, always makes audiences think about sensitive topics through his unique perspective. His line "Once you opt into the fear of cancel culture, you're finished" is not only a comment on modern culture, but also a powerful statement about accepting the fear of being cancelled in today's society. Dylan Moran. Once you opt into the fear of cancel culture, you're finished. Moran, in his performances and talks, has always asserted that if you let the fear of being condemned or excluded from society control your life, you will no longer have the freedom to be creative and express yourself. Cancel culture, where every word, action or opinion can be excised and criticized with a harsh level, not only reduces creativity but also takes away the freedom to express personal opinions. Expanding Moran's story, Dylan Moran points out an undeniable truth. While freedom of speech is one of the most important principles of a free society, today, speaking up or even just being true to yourself can open you up to harsh, sometimes unfair, criticism. If you begin to let yourself be ruled by the fear of being condemned or cancelled, you become a slave to that fear. This can be especially true for celebrities like Moran, whose every word and every action is scrutinized and judged. However, Moran is not the only one criticizing this culture. Artists, creators, and other celebrities have repeatedly spoken out about how fear leads them to censor themselves, which in turn diminishes the creativity and authenticity of their work. Cancel culture and creative freedom. With this quote, Moran criticizes modern culture in which fear and social pressure can prevent people from being their true selves. Creativity, according to Moran, cannot exist in a society where every word and action is imposed by strict standards. Accepting imperfection is an indispensable part of every creative life. If an artist or creative person feels that they must avoid all risks of criticism, they will no longer be able to create new ideas, because they will not dare to experiment and break through. So, when Dylan Moran says once you opt into the fear of cancel culture, you're finished, he is reminding that when you let yourself be bound by fear and the views of others, you have missed out on an important part of your creative nature and personal freedom. Could cancel culture become a bigger challenge? While some argue that cancel culture is necessary to keep society fair and free of immoral behavior, others feel that it can lead to isolation and the suppression of creativity. Moran is one of those critics, with his emphasis on how freedom of speech and creativity should not be stifled by overly strict social standards. So, are we destroying our own freedoms while trying to protect them? Dylan Moran argues that the fear of being judged may be the greatest enemy of freedom and creativity in modern society. Dylan Moran has made us think deeply about the relationship between creativity and cancel culture. His words not only reflect a personal perspective on modern society but also highlight an important issue. The fear of criticism can affect all of us, especially creative people. Cancel culture. When perfection becomes the enemy. One of the worrying aspects of cancel culture is the imposition of perfection on every individual. Nowadays, not only artists or celebrities but anyone can be criticized, sometimes just because of an unintentional sentence or an action that does not fit the current social trend. Perfection has become a standard in which no one is allowed to make mistakes. And in such a society, creativity is easily stifled. Dylan Moran is right when he says that if we constantly live in fear of being condemned, we will gradually become afraid of experimentation. New ideas will no longer emerge, because everyone will try to please everyone, instead of expressing their own truth or portraying the world in their own way. Cancel culture, where controversy has no place. Moran criticizes cancel culture not only for stifling creativity, but also for disallowing debate. In the past, debate, however heated, created space for progress and new ideas to develop. But now, voicing dissenting views is sometimes seen as a dangerous act, forcing people to stand still or to express only censored, harmless thoughts. So how can we grow in such a society? How can we confront the complex issues of the world if we cannot have honest conversations about them? People like Dylan Moran remind us that controversy and disagreement are part of growing up in society, and we should not avoid them for fear of being cancelled. When fear ruled human actions, one of the biggest effects of cancel culture is that people begin to censor themselves. When every action and word is scrutinized, people become so cautious that they are afraid to express their true opinions. This self-censorship is not limited to artists or celebrities, but extends to ordinary people in society. Controversial topics such as religion, politics, race, and gender become areas that many people do not dare to tread, for fear that speaking out incorrectly will lead to harsh criticism from the community. Dylan Moran points out that when you start living in this fear, you not only lose your creativity, but you also lose your ability to stand up for yourself. Making mistakes and learning from them is an important part of life and growth. Without the opportunity to make mistakes, we can never progress or truly grow. How to overcome the fear of being cancelled? A big question is, how to escape the fear of cancel culture? While living in fear can keep you on your toes, there are ways we can stay grounded without getting swept up in the constant wave of criticism. Some ways include: stand firm in your personal principles. Don't let outside criticism change you. Ask yourself, does your perspective reflect your personal values? If so, don't be afraid to share it. Embrace imperfection. Everyone makes mistakes, and that's part of the learning process. Don't let the fear of criticism stop you from trying and growing. Engage in conversation. Face difficult issues head on instead of avoiding them. It's not about whether you agree or disagree, it's about engaging in a respectful and open dialogue.